One thing that I truly desire. We're all fighting on the same side. The bigger difficulty is convincing the enterprise market of the value of the fundamental technology. So most of the enterprises that we deal with don't want to know anything about a coin, right? So getting involved with those kind of agencies, that'll be very important. There's just too much regulation, right?
Hello and welcome to KryptosChain. My name is Claudio, and joining me today is Alan Vey, co-founder and CEO of Aventus. He has a lot of interesting things to share, especially with some big companies in this space. So Alan, thank you very much for joining. I'm really happy to have you here, and hopefully you can share more information about Aventus with the audience. But first of all, I want to hear, like, how did you get started into crypto to begin with? Like, what triggered the spark, to get you into crypto?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me here. I'd say it all started, I did an undergraduate degree in computer science at Imperial College in London, and I started in 2012. And back then, I think the main use case for Bitcoin was probably Silk Road on the dark web. So as computer science students, we were always playing around with different technologies, right? And that's where we first came across Bitcoin. But I never really used it professionally, right? It was just like some fun internet money. And then in 2015, after I'd been working in hedge funds for a bit, I went back to uni to do a master's in artificial intelligence. And I think Ethereum launched that year. And when I saw what that evolution of the smart contract on top of the kind of currency system was, to me, that was a game changer. So I did my master's thesis on it. And right out of uni, I ended up founding Aventus.
Interesting. And why Polkadot? Because there are just so many ecosystems out there. Why not Cosmos, Avalanche, Cardano maybe? Why did you choose Polkadot? What attracted you to it?
So we started out in the ticketing industry. Everything we built initially was on Ethereum. And then we built a layer 2 on Ethereum because that's just what enterprises need to kind of scale and use this technology at the time. And to build that layer 2, we didn't want to build everything from scratch. So we did a bit of a review of the technology that existed in market. And we concluded that Tendermint or Substrate would be the best technologies to base the layer 2 that we built on. And in diving deeper into the code, from our perspective, Substrate was just the superior infrastructure for kind of building out what we had envisioned. So it was a technical decision based on a review of what existed in the market. As the years went and we got more and more adoption, then having built on Substrate, obviously the sort of open source code that Polkadot's based on, it was a natural evolution to become a parachain and maintain our kind of decentralized bridge into Ethereum, but really get involved in the Polkadot ecosystem.
And let's talk about Aventus. So do you want to maybe summarize what is Aventus? What are you trying to achieve?
Yeah, Aventus is, in a nutshell, all about onboarding enterprises to Web3. So our goal has been, we've invested about $30 million into our technology. We've been growing a business off of revenue primarily. And it's a product suite. So we have block space, I say, is pretty much what we pitch to the enterprises. Most of them don't care what blockchain. They have certain parameters that have to be met. And we can do that quite nicely with Substrate. So we deploy either standalone or sort of parachain as a service or layer 2 Ethereum networks. We have an instantiation of that product offering, which is the Aventus Network, the live parachain, and then all the bolting that you need around that. An Infura type product like load balanced APIs and whatnot, like white label NFT marketplace, enterprise key management solutions, data indexing, reading, writing, all of that kind of good stuff that we need to deliver an enterprise grade SLA. So that's the product, and the pitch is all around any of the use cases that we kind of come across. We have the technology to deliver a service level agreement that an enterprise would expect and actually make sure that the technology can deliver that.
And let's talk about the parachain. So you have parachain on Polkadot right now. Aventus is on Polkadot. You're not on Kusama, if I'm not mistaken. Can I ask, why did you not also deploy a canary on Kusama? Is there a reason for it?
Yeah, so everything we do has always been a use case motivated, right? So we are very focused on the enterprise side of the market and delivering what the clients need in terms of their technical parameters. So there was just no need for us to deploy on Kusama. Polkadot had launched. We saw that was probably where the majority of the ecosystem would end up. So rather than having our infrastructure duplicated across both, We have sort of private test networks and should we say mocked relay chains to do any of the testing and whatnot. And then on the public front, we just went straight to Polkadot and decided that would make the most sense. We also did a deal with Skytail Ventures, who's quite involved in the Polkadot ecosystem, and they advised us, yeah, Polkadot's where everything should be moving to, at least on the enterprise adoption side. So that's why we kind of deployed there.
Makes sense. Absolutely. You're also going to be talking to us about some of your partners as well. I know you've mentioned them at Decoded. Anybody who has watched that panel would have known about that, but just in case they didn't, I am curious to hear more about that. So do you want to share like some more information regarding your partners from the Web2 space who you're attracting, and what kind of partnership are you going to have with them? Like what role are they going to play?
For sure. So we've got about 4 buckets of industries that we work on, right? So we'll start on the, for anybody who's aware of Energy Web, we've obviously recently announced that as they migrate from their proof of authority chain into the Polkadot ecosystem as parachain, we will build the technology, the blockchain technology underneath that. So that's an exciting one, obviously, with the kind of clients they have, from Shell to EDF, Volkswagen, and whatnot across their network. So that's energy. Then we have more kind of financial services type products. We have a loyalty product called a client cashback app, or Enigmatic Smile. What they do, they have 12 million users across Denmark, India, and now launching in Southern Africa and the US. And it's a loyalty point, it's cashback, right? When you buy in their participating merchants, you get cashback. And we engineered the token system for them and all of the infrastructure underneath that to essentially restructure what a loyalty point is. So reducing balance sheet debt by 80% and increasing margins by 25%. And that's all about how you think of a loyalty point, how you structure it with respect to the regulation and the governance around e-money and all of that. So that's a cool one in the financial services space. Then we have what we call loyalty, generally, NFT marketplaces and all of that. We have a deal with a few different film studios. The most interesting one is probably the Wolf of Wall Street film. So we're just launching the digital experience for the Wolf of Wall Street now. It's the 10-year anniversary this December. So looking at how that can be celebrated up to the anniversary and beyond. There'll be metaverse, gamified things, and all kinds of footage and memorabilia from the film that people haven't seen before. Obviously, Beatport as well. Yeah. Beatport is one of the biggest in music. We're doing all the Web3 technology for them. So that's EDM, helping them realize that digital fan club model. And then last but not least is our supply chain and logistics sector. And this is what we were talking about at Decoded. So we've been working at Heathrow Airport for a while now, looking at the problem of cargo management, essentially. So you've got these things, ULDs, unit load devices, which is where you put baggage or mail or cargo into when it goes into a plane. And at any point in time, 5 to 10% of these things, people don't know where they are. It can be up to a $2 billion problem at an airport a year. So what we're doing is we're helping bring IoT devices into those, tracking them better, managing the identities and all of it on a blockchain-based system. It's more transparent, it's more scalable with IoT devices, all of that. So Vodafone is just joining us as part of that. You will have heard at Decoded, David was talking about how they're getting involved. But we'll do a big push and a proper press release with full details on everything once we have the final details nailed.
Now, from what I'm listening here, it sounds to me like your biggest competitors are likely VeChain. So I have to ask, because they're working a lot with supply chain. They've been around for a long time, right? If you've been in crypto since like 2017 or before, you likely heard of VeChain. Everyone did. But I need to ask you, like, how would you say you differ from VeChain in this sense?
So I would argue that the competition is when you get a deal and somebody else doesn't get a deal. I would argue today, in the way crypto is rolling out and the way the blockchain industry is rolling out, we're all fighting on the same side. The bigger difficulty is convincing the enterprise market of the value of the fundamental technology and increasing our total addressable market, basically. We haven't got to the point of market saturation yet where we have to fight about who has what piece of the pie. We're all trying to educate and help businesses understand that this technology is worthwhile. So that's just like a bit of a forward, right? So anybody getting deals in supply chain is useful to us in the pitches and the conversations that we have live to say, look at that great use case, look at how that has transformed that business. So we don't keep a detailed eye on our competitors. We haven't done an in-depth analysis of what they're doing. We like to know what deals have been done on the commercial front, and we like to see if we can replicate that success. But yeah, today it's a beautiful new industry. We all get to build it and get it to expand. We'll worry about who owns what piece in the future.
Wow, very interesting response. No, that's very good. No, I totally agree with you. I mean, it's all about growing Web3 industry together, right? And not competing. But it was more just to try to find out, like, if you do something that is differently done than they are doing, basically. You know, if you have looked into what they're doing, and if you could say, maybe we're doing this thing which is slightly different and we think this could be successful, you know, maybe like learn from their mistakes kind of scenario. That's more what I wanted to know.
No, that makes sense. I don't know their product suite well enough to be able to properly comment on where things are different. From what I understand, though, our focus has always been use case first. I don't know what their strategy is, but I know where we do differ to many. Like, I would say the key competitors that we have analyzed are like R3 Corda Enterprise. There's the Hyperledger. All of those private permission chains are really the ones that have started up. So to talk a little bit more generally about the enterprise market and the comparisons and how we differ, to try and give context to this sort of answer, right, is we, first of all, we have private infrastructure. We can deploy a private permissioned network or some kind of hybrid network, but all of it, because it's substrate based, we've built tools that help you to migrate from a standalone chain to a parachain. We basically are making the migration from private to public as simple and easy as possible. Our thesis is really, it's like how the internet rolled up, right? Intranets that then became the internet. So that's one element to how we've seen ourselves differ in market from some of the major market participants. Otherwise, it's also very use case focused. We focus on the sectors that we're in quite heavily, so those specific sectors. And then all of our products, the only use cases we really like to take on are ones where you can generalize that to be a product that would ultimately be able to be deployed as automatically as possible in an enterprise context, reusable, not bespoke work, not one-time work. Everything, we own the IP, and it adds to the general purpose nature of our platform as a whole. And then we have that fully vertically integrated stack from the user level with sort of wallet or key management and NFT marketplaces, through to the sort of middleware layer where we have load balance API type product like Infura, we call it the gateway API. And then obviously the blockchain networking layer where we can deploy the different blockchain networks and whatnot. So that full vertical integration is also a significant differentiator to some participants in market.
Now let's talk about the coin. Okay, so Aventus is powered by a cryptocurrency as well. And so I want to know, what role does it actually play in this whole, you know, adoption of enterprise and integrations of enterprise? Like, how are you going to integrate this cryptocurrency with these different enterprises? What is your plan? If you could please talk about that.
So most of the enterprises that we deal with don't want to know anything about a coin, right? They would rather not have it on their balance sheets. So there are various different workarounds. We've been talking to a few professional services companies who have done a lot of work on the regulatory framework for how an enterprise can actually manage these. So one of our strategies is via those professional services firms, we'll be able to help deliver the solution. They can deliver the advice and the risk management around those. And some deals we do through that aggregator strategy, we call it. On other deals, there are various different structures we've seen. For one of our partners, they said, fine, we want to become a validator on the network. So the Aventus Network essentially functions like a proof of stake network, a nominated proof of stake network. Anybody who holds the token can put forward a proposal to say, I want to add more people to the network. If the network agrees, they kind of add a draft, and then it's proof of stake. You stake some of the token and you earn the gas fees on the network for helping with that. In a simple form, that's how the tokenomics works. So enterprises who want to join the network will sometimes say, okay, just bill us for a managed service. We'll pay you whatever it is, $10,000 for the managed service, and you deploy it within my Amazon instance. And any of the IP that resides within that instance, I own. So in effect, what they're doing is they are buying the token, staking it, and participating in the network. but it's using very different language and a very different process for how they deal with it to kind of sidestep some of the internal policies or whatnot when they want to. So some people get creative. Some say, I don't want to have anything to do with the token, just bill me a managed service and you take care of any of the tech fees. And that's also a model that works, right? When we send transactions on the Aventus network itself, we have built functionality, proxy functionality essentially. So they will hold their keys, they will create the transactions that they want to send and send it into the system, and they will specify which proxy will pay on their behalf. So we have different proxy providers who will basically just take ready to go transactions, pay for them to be processed on the network, and at the end of the month, they'll bill in fiat for providing that service. So a few different workarounds, but yeah, it's so far it's working.
Okay, I mean, to me, it just sounds like it is going to be used for transaction fees because you need it for the network, also for governance, right? And also for staking. And correct. You're going to get like the validators and the nominators, which may be interested in the coin for that purpose. But what I want to know is, will it play an actual utility in the whole ecosystem aside from the transaction fees and for validators and nominators? Like, is it possible to integrate the coin into one of these products that are going to be brought in from Web 2 to perhaps, I don't know, maybe like create like a kind of a lockup system, like you need this amount of coins in order to take advantage of a specific service?
Yeah, so the goal is to scale the security of the network as things grow. We want to see the validator participants at least grow the stake that they have associated with their nodes, right? The more value that's going through the network. To actually integrate the token, it depends on which use cases. A supply chain logistics use case for tracking cargo is never going to integrate this token to natively work airside. There's just too much regulation, right?
Okay.
But on the NFT use cases and around the digital collectibles and on the loyalty side, that's where there is much more scope for integration. So we're always looking for additional ways to add utility. There are some coming in the pipe, which I can't talk about without disclosing the deals. But for now, it's focused around staking, governance, transaction, gas fees, but with a view to evolve the fundamental token economics over the next year as well.
Now let's talk about the marketing aspect. So we know that you're going to have some big partners. Of course, you've already been discussing with Vodafone, right? We've got Energy Web. But what is your plan to market Aventus to the wider audience out there aside from these specific partnerships? So just like you've managed to get these, how do you plan to market Aventus further so that more people can find out about it?
Yeah, so there are a few different marketing funnels, right? For the enterprise market, the most important thing will be having a presence at the bright trade shows. There are a lot of agents that actually sit in between doing enterprise deals often. So getting involved with those kind of agencies, that'll be very important. So that's one side of the strategy. Then, of course, it's building out and further fleshing out the internal Aventus marketing team. We're already at the moment kind of evolving that team just to improve everything, right, across our social channels, and a big focus on the right influencers. We've always focused on fundamentals first. So we don't want to just talk and create some kind of hype around the Aventus ecosystem until we had the deals to fill it.
Yeah.
Now we have the deals to fill it, so it's really worth kind of spending on getting the word out there. But at the end of the day, yeah, elevating the brand presence in front of the right audiences. This is the best answer I can give you. But otherwise, it's worth getting our marketing team to help with the detail of the strategies.
We want to move on to the financial sustainability situation. So we understand it is the bear market. You guys are quite new in this eco. I know that you said you would launch on Ethereum initially, right? But now you decided to go with Substrate. So I do want to know, because obviously you have investors, it's like, how long in terms of time frame do you think Aventus can financially sustain to hit those roadmap milestones and deliver, and get those integrations? If you could please tell us. So I just want to know the time frame, not amounts.
So with current levels of revenue incoming, assuming deals stay similar to how the closed deals that we have stay the way they are, and not assuming any new deals, the business can sustain itself at the current level probably through the end of next year. We're also currently doing a financing round to scale things to the next level because we have more inbound deals than we can service. So if we can get more money faster, we can drive more deals faster. So financially, we're in a fortunate position that the business is not in kind of a difficult position. But of course, these things can always change. If some regulation comes in or some case that the SEC sues makes everybody scared and they decide to terminate contracts, you never know what's happening. But that's a worst case scenario. Right now, the financial viability of our business is strong.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share? Anything exciting coming up?
I forgot to mention, we've got a new website coming. So I think next month sometime, I know our current website has left a lot of people confused. I think the new one will really help explain the vision and everything much more clearly. So that's a good one coming next month. And then, yeah, we've got 2 announcements, one with a major sporting organization and one with a major musician that are upcoming as well. So I'll tease it like that. I can't say the names, but I think within the next 6 weeks, people will see some more exciting adoption coming out of our companies.
Okay, sounds good. Cool. Thank you very much, Alan. Now, I do have one final question. This is the closing question. It's not related to Aventus at all. It's just like on a personal level. What is one thing in life that you truly desire?
One thing that I truly desire, got to be time, right? The amount of time that we spend working. If I had more hours in the day, we could do so much more. We spend so much time working. There are other things that you have to sacrifice. So I'm not saying I don't love what I do, but I would love to have a bit more time in each day.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know that there are planets out there, in our solar system where the day is longer. So I was thinking, eventually in the future when we're going to get there, terraform those planets and, extend those days. I think that's going to be really helpful, because that's that's an issue on many people's minds, isn't it? Time flies so fast. Like you go into a conference, it's over before you know it. Cool. Thank you very much, Alan. I really appreciate you coming on, and thank you as well for watching this video. If you want to check out Aventus, I'm going to be posting links in the description of this video and also in the pinned comment. So please make sure to follow them also on Twitter. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.